Good evening and Merry Christmas. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Mitch Laggy, in for Russ and Janelle. Today is a day of celebration for millions around the world. From Mass at the Vatican to the National Cathedral in Washington and even to the beaches of Australia, all corners of the world felt a little extra jolly today. NORAD even taking on its annual task of tracking down Santa's sleigh so that kids can keep tabs on their presents. CBS's Hillary Lane has more on the worldwide festivities.
Pope Francis called on the world to let the light of Christ pierce the darkness in human hearts during his traditional Christmas Day message.
Buon pranzo natalizio.
The 83-year-old pontiff also defended migrants and called for peace in the Holy Land and other places of conflict. Thousands of the faithful attended a morning mass at the Church of the Nativity in the West Bank town of Bethlehem, the traditional birthplace of Jesus. Christians also packed the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. to celebrate and pray.
On Christmas, our faith teaches us that God comes and pitches a tent among us.
Queen Elizabeth attended a church service near her estate in eastern England Christmas morning with some members of the royal family. During the Queen's televised Christmas Day message, the monarch stressed the value of reconciliation.
The path, of course, is not always smooth, and may at times this year have felt quite bumpy, but small steps can make a world of difference.
Merry Christmas!
In Australia, large crowds gathered at the beach to celebrate Christmas, and in Germany, a swimming club took their traditional Christmas Day plunge.
Merry Christmas!
Back in the U.S., community groups in Baton Rouge bailed out 7 single moms from jail for the holidays.
So I know I've changed, and I've changed not just for myself, for my kids.
The women are accused, not convicted, of nonviolent crimes and were unable to pay bail. They were sent home with supplies to help their families. Hillary Lane, CBS News.
Thank you, Hillary. And turning now to weather. Merry Christmas, Bob.
Merry Christmas, Mitch.
And it wasn't a white Christmas, but there was a little bit of snow that fell this evening, right?
We did see some, and guess what? It's still falling out there in some places in south central Montana. Let's check it out on the Doppler radar. Look at that. We did have a little snow. It was not much, just as we thought. It was going to be just a few flurries here or there, and that's what we wound up with. So you'll notice that'll continue tonight. Probably most of it kind of fade away. Here's what we're looking at here. That's basically in south central Montana. That's where most of the snow has fallen. Now, our high-resolution forecast model was showing, well, we could see some scattered snow showers the rest of tonight across Interstate 90. But then watch what happens. By tomorrow morning, even that fades away. So we're looking at mostly sunny skies across much of the state on Thursday. Then on Friday, looks like maybe some snow up around the Kalispell area, and some of those snow showers are expected to push their way in towards south central Montana, but I think they'll fall apart before they get to the Billings area. We're not expecting any snow on Friday night. So what are we going to see here? Maybe just a little light snow over Livingston. Billings not expecting much, 1 to 2 inches of snow by Bozeman, and that's about all we're expecting out of this thing. Well, the rest of your week's forecasted in a few more minutes.
All right, thank you, Bob. In other news, Billings police are questioning a subject in a stabbing that sent one man to the hospital tonight. Shortly after 8 o'clock, police found an adult male with stab wounds around 3rd Avenue South and South 28th Street. Police followed a blood trail to where the stabbing happened. A suspect is in custody for questioning. Police do not believe that this is a threat to public safety. And also in Billings tonight, police are investigating a crash that sent one man to the hospital. A pickup truck driving around South 27th Street and 5th Street South lost control, veered off into the center median and hit a tree, causing it to fall on the roadway. The truck then rolled on its side, and the man had to be extricated by first responders. He was then transported to a Billings hospital. The cause of that crash is unknown, and police are investigating any contributing factors like drugs, speed, or alcohol. And the holidays bring celebrations of many sorts, but while you are celebrating, Montana Highway Patrol is asking that you make sure to take the necessary steps to be safe as well.
It is a stressful time of year for people. They go out, they drink, they try to have a good time, and they don't plan properly. So it's important to take the time, plan. We don't want you not to go out and have a good time. Go out and have a good time, but make the plan so that you can get home safely.
And Montana was ranked 50th when it comes to DUI prevention, according to Mothers Against Drunk Driving. And Montana's ban on flavored vaping products has been in effect for about a week, and already some people have found a way to get around it. MTN's Cody Boyer has been following this story and has the latest information.
having customers having access to a safe product. That's the goal.
After one day of a 120-day temporary ban on flavored vaping products, Ron and Deanna Marshall say many shops like their own are turning off their open signs. But Ron had an idea.
Basically what we did is said, okay, well, we're not going to sell the flavored e-liquid, but what we're going to do is we're going to still sell the components, because the components by themselves are FDA approved.
Kits, each with the regulated parts to let customers make products themselves. Deanna says so far, it's the only way to keep some shops going and keep customers from seeking dangerous alternatives.
Most of the other vape shops have already laid off the majority of their employees.
We had one gentleman said he was going to go buy some non-toxic antifreeze because it contains propylene glycol.
The Marshalls argue that places across the entire state, have already started looking at going out of business entirely. But for them, they do say that this is about safety.
It's horrifying, What we did was just say, okay, well, here's what we'll do. It's well within the law.
I reached out to the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services, who said in a statement that it is not clear where enforcement stands within the ban when referring to kits. Meanwhile, Ron warns against anyone seeking off-the-shelf ingredients over the next 4 months and beyond.
Don't try to do this at home. There's a lot of chemistry involved in it. You just don't know.
In Bozeman, Cody Boyer, MTN News.
And the state health department also reminds that if kits include any flavor components, that would bring them back under the rules of the ban. And as you're no doubt aware, it is an election year. And in Montana, it's an election that's already drawing plenty of attention and activity. As the first of the year approaches, MTN's chief political reporter Mike Dennison gives us a preview of what's in store and at stake in this pivotal campaign year for Montana.
You won't get much disagreement from those in the political trenches that 2020 will be a huge election year in Montana and the nation. Here's Don Kaltschmidt, the chair of the Montana Republican Party.
And I believe that it's going to be a very, very important year to be able to see the direction of this state and this country. Do we want to continue with the prosperity and the things getting done at the national level and the state level?
That's one way to frame it. But whatever your spin, plenty is at stake in Montana in the 2020 elections. The governor's seat is open, and so are the spots of Attorney General, State Auditor, Secretary of State, and our U.S. House seat. And many of these races have crowded primaries, with multiple candidates competing for their party's nomination to carry the torch in November. The race everyone mentions first is for governor.
Certainly the governor's race is going to command the most of attention. It's going to command the most money. It's going to command the most resources in the entire state. 3 Republicans are in the governor's race: Attorney General Tim Fox, U.S. Representative Greg Gianforte, and State Senator Al Olszewski of Kalispell. And 4 Democrats: Lieutenant Governor Mike Cooney, former State Representative Riley Neal of Livingston, House Minority Leader Casey Schreiner of Great Falls, and Missoula businesswoman Whitney Williams. Democrats have held the governor's chair in Montana for 16 years, and Republicans, itching to get it back, feel like this is their year.
I think Montanans are ready for a Republican governor. They're looking for a fiscal conservative and somebody that will espouse their Montana values.
Democrats, however, say the GOP agenda would lead to cutting public services like health care or schools, and that Montana voters should be wary.
If we do elect a Republican conservative gubernatorial candidate, thousands of Montanans stand to lose their health care. We really are focused on public education, where the conservative is more focused on charter schools.
We also have a U.S. Senate race in Montana in 2020, but at this point it's not generating much heat. Republican Senator Steve Daines is up for re-election, and his potential opponents are underfunded and largely unknown.
I don't think it's going to attract a lot of money. I think a lot of the national donors are going to be putting the money into other competitive races like in Colorado and Maine and potentially even Georgia before they actually put Montana on the radar screen.
But there is something big on the radar for the 2020 election in Montana: the Trump factor. Will the president be a positive for Montana Republicans like he was in 2016? Kaltschmidt, the Republican Party chair, says yes.
The president is very well supported in this state, and I don't think it will hurt us at all.
Parker, the political scientist, says it depends.
I think it all comes down to whether Trump is a net positive is if the economy continues to do well. But don't forget, we have a president the economy is doing well, and even here in Montana, he's only about a 50% approval rating.
And Driscoll, the Democratic Party chair, says she's not concerned.
Montanans are a really independent lot when it comes to elections. We have a Republican and a Democratic senator in the state of Montana. We have a Democratic governor and Republican Secretary of State, auditor.
Yes, but going forward, will Montana remain something of a split decision between Republicans and Democrats? That's one of the big questions that voters here will be deciding in this critical upcoming election year. In Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Thank you, Mike. MTN News will bring you a full range of campaign coverage in both the primary and general elections.